Hey everyone, before we dive into our reaction of Black Swan, I wanted to talk about our partnership with VIETSUB and give you guys the opportunity to purchase discounted BTS merch while also supporting their Love Myself campaign. The Love Myself campaign is a joint effort between UNICEF and BTS that helps children and their families worldwide.
We find this campaign extremely important because UNICEF promotes the rights and well-being of children around the world. They work with them to overcome obstacles such as poverty, violence, disease, and discrimination that they face in their path.
We've partnered with VIETSUB for this video because they're independent promoters of the UNICEF End Violence campaign. They sell quality, clean BTS merchandise with the Love Myself branding to help raise money for the cause.
You can donate directly to the hashtag BTS Love Myself UNICEF website, or anything you buy merchandise-wise from VIETSUB will go directly to the campaign, and that way you can get exclusive, awesome, I don't know how to say that word, so I'm gonna say wonderful exclusive BTS merchandise to represent ARMY and the Love Yourself message.
And by purchasing through the link in the description or entering the promo code TOTHEK10, you get an additional 10% off your entire purchase and are automatically entered to a giveaway for the Map of the Soul 7 album.
I really hope that our fan base will be able to give lots of love and support to this cause. So if you can, please head to the description to check out the website where you can buy this beautiful merch and support such an amazing campaign. Now, let's go back to the reaction video. You are now reacting to the boy group BTS and their 2019 song Black Swan. They actually released two versions, one trap version on iTunes and stuff, and you guys are reacting to the art film version released on YouTube. As you might have already guessed, the choreography and concept of the video you're about to watch is inspired by the movie The Black Swan.
Oh god, I just watched that. Let's go, Aronofsky for the win.
The art film begins with a quote by American choreographer Martha Graham. The concept of the song is based on the meaning behind the quote, that artists, dancers, musicians die twice. The first death is when they have to give up their art for whatever reason. For BTS, this death comes if they lose their passion for making music. Fame brings with it pressure to produce songs, and some artists release music that is systematically written for mass appeal. But the group wants to continue to inspire us with their music, and if they can't do that, their end has come, their first death. The concept for the album that this song will be released on, Map of the Soul 7, is Young's theory of the shadow. The dancers in the video are the MN Dance Company from Slovenia, and the song is composed by P-Dog, August Rigo, Vince Nantes, Clyde Kelly, and the BTS member RM.
3, 2, 1.
Big hit. All right. Hit me hard.
A dancer dies twice, once when they stop dancing, and the first death is more painful.
It's really sad.
And aesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Did not expect that.
Go off. Oh my god, I love this.
I love this so far.
The sound is going from left to right a little bit in the headphones, and that's mirrored by his arms.
I love how the orchestration, it's like a mix between Western and Eastern instruments. It's like string quartet with like the Euro, and the Kayagun.
I really like how the whole rhythm is just given by, like, it almost sounds like it's improvising on the chord progression, the strings and the guitar player.
Yeah.
Like,
I love the syncopation and the violin. It's like the
Also, that violinist is really good.
I like how the high violin is like tripleting over everything. Kind of the strings are all kind of doing their own thing, but staying rhythmically together.
Yeah, there's a lot of trills, tremolo figures. So I think it's supposed to represent flight because that's what most, I think when you think of tremolos and like string playing, I think that's what it's supposed to imitate, flight.
You hear that? There's like one thing that doesn't fit inside the melody. I think that symbolizes the shadow coming to like take over. You hear the unstability in the tonality. Symbolizes something changing.
This is amazing.
It's kind of like they took a list of like extended techniques for the violin and like cello and viola, and they just like put them all there.
This is incredible. Yeah, I don't want to talk.
I feel like all the transitions between the different sections are so organic and smooth. It's like hard to tell, at least personally, like where the like pre-chorus gets into the chorus. It's very smooth.
It actually feels linear to me, but linear in the way that like Bolero is linear, where it's just sort of one idea, but just expanded on throughout the entire piece.
I really like how they give a lot of time for the instrumentals.
Wow! The choreography, first of all, is just ridiculously good. And the design of the video is incredibly good. The music is also just, I think, perfect to accompany it. Especially I love what they did with the strings and how they disintegrate into sounds every once in a while. And that's kind of like a, you know, that's like the instrumental shadow in a way. But like, again, the choreography just blew me away. Like, this is really like a perfect marriage between all forms of media in production of this piece. The end result was so powerful.
Did they end on like 7? Scale degree 7? Da, da. I feel like it wants to resolve up.
Actually, well, tonic in that key was actually bizarre. It was really bizarre. I don't think it ever actually played with tonic. I think all the chords were like 4, 2, 6, 5. I don't think it ever played tonic.
But like at the very end, like we never reach tonic either. It like stops on like scale degree 7.
We never get to hear tonic. Yeah, that's tonic.
You think that's tonic?
I think that's the real tonic. We just never get to it.
No, I don't think so. Because in the chorus, it's do your thing, do your thing. I don't think that's one in the chorus
you think
either.
it's the relative minor?
I do think this is in minor. Yeah. I mean, it's playing a little bit between major and minor. Theory and oral skills, especially when things are more complex, is a little bit subjective. So, like, people can hear it different ways, especially if it's playing with major versus minor.
It sounds inconclusive because it landed on the third of the minor one, okay?
No, it's not because of that. No, it's not because of that.
It's in minor.
Maybe we hear it differently.
So, Black Swan is a film. You know, the main character, oh God, what's her name? Nina keeps like seeing herself. People around her will like turn into her. And so she keeps seeing like the dark shadow version of herself. Because the whole point is there's this tension between her being like obviously the white swan and her like black swan tendencies like coming out. And there's this like blend of her confusion as she's losing time in her brain and like things are happening and she doesn't remember them happening. And so like there's this kind of ambiguity. Is this black swan version of her she keeps seeing real? Is it not real? So I think by like the fact that we can like have a debate about what key we think it is in is like indicative of the fact that like they're playing with that and trying to confuse us. And I think that's also like kind of the vibe of the movie.
I thought what was interesting too is that it went from the main dancer being held by the rest of the shadow characters to in the middle when the music was much more dramatic and energetic and passionate. It was like a fight scene almost choreographed, and that I think was when like you were fighting the shadow within yourself. And then at the end when it went to more of a resolution and almost back to the beginning, but it felt like we had passed that, we had gone through that journey, so it felt different. At the end, it felt like the swan had accepted the shadow, and the shadow was raising the swan up.
It was pleasant. A lot of layering of different like rhythms. There's a point where violins were like tripleting, descending up high to down low, and the bass was just kind of like boom, 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 boom. There's a lot of like texture within the string section.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of music, the strings are all kind of doing the same thing. That was interesting. They each had their voice.
I think the variation that you're hearing is sort of like traditional in terms of string quartet scoring, which is because you know how each instrument has its own part.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 voices coming together. And I think that they really draw on a lot of classic techniques of not just orchestration or scoring. Like you hear like those cascadings of like triplets or like the 16 like do 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 do, and then you hear the cello like holding the bass. So I think it really encapsulated the string technique repertoire, what we consider like for quartet playing.
First off, I do think that there is a bass and a cello. Like there might be a cello line that they doubled and lowered, but I definitely do think there is something heavier on the bottom than just a cello. Like I don't think it's just a quartet. It might be a quintet with bass in the back, but there's also like a pizzicato line, I want to say, on the downbeats, like where it just says pits as people are like bowing, because most of it is very arco heavy. And even when the cello does a little bit more of like a kind of not like super spiccato, but a little bit more off the string, like you can still hear that there's like a strong downbeat, and they're like whapping. That's a bad, like the whaps, which is either on like some kind of a like percussion box.
Yeah, I think it's like on a cello.
Because when I first listened, I thought that they were just hitting like the back of a bass, because you can get that nice like blah. Yeah. That being said, I think they were making a lot of efforts to make it not feel heavy and drag on the bottom. Like there were some points when they had short, long, just like when you're playing that often, because they would have every downbeat, and sometimes they would have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, like
yeah. But sometimes they're playing every single beat, just the dun 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 dun, and it's really hard not to make everything feel very like pesante, very
like stiff.
Heavy and like hard to move. Sometimes I felt that it kind of did feel a little stuck and a little heavy for me. And maybe that was because like the quarter notes were so even, like it was very bum, 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 instead of like a bum, 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 or even like a crescendo through like bum, 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 like where it's important. Listening again, I was like, okay, I can feel where they're doing this, and like, so the musicians were good, but I did want more.
It's interesting to hear like kind of the electronically processed voices too with the string orchestra. I feel like we never hear that in any other kind of music with the actual live instruments and then like kind of an electronically altered voice. I think it like works particularly well because on the violin you can really sustain a note, and with the bow you've got like a really even sound. But with the voice, naturally you're gonna have like little highs and lows. In terms of like volume especially, that seems to be one of the things that people correct in post-processing that makes the voice sound kind of more electronic, but it actually makes them like match the string sound in a really cool way.
I knew when you described it, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be like really relatable. But watching it, I realized it's relatable to anyone who is in the realm of performing arts. You know, it's not just something that like we as instrumentalists can relate to. It's something that the dancers can probably relate to. It's something that the singers can relate to. It's like, this is something that affects every artist in every genre, whether it's classical or pop or any genre in between. The way the strings were arranged, I noticed there were very specific things they did to kind of hint at that this is something that all artists feel. Like, it was like string textures and trills, but there was also a plucked instrument in there that was, I don't know like what kind of instrument it was, but it sounded like a bit like oriental to me.
It's a Korean instrument.
Yeah, so I just the way they like blended everything, the way they blended the mediums, like the dance and the instrumentals and even the vocals and the lyrics, like it was just like they really like drove it home for me.
But also like Tchaikovsky's Swan Lake, which is what this is all based off of.
Does that
Thanks, Tchaikovsky.
resolve?
Tchaikovsky was gay, by the way.
Tchaikovsky
I'm just
would
saying.